West Coast Avengers number 35 spikes after Robert Downey Jr. casually shows it off on social media.
Marvel's lost Silver Age hero who never was, Paul Jenkins Jae Lee, and one of the greatest marketing stunts in comics history.
And from the ultraviolet body count to the criminally overlooked Captain America 247, we spotlight hidden gems flying under most collectors' radar. All of these things and more on a new episode of Bronze and Modern Gods. Richard, I am glad to be back in my office. All this traveling and Comic Cons, at least it's over for now. Oh, wait.
Yeah, you're going to be out in the friendly skies again next week.
I am. It never stops, folks, but we're glad you're here. We're glad you're along the ride with us. And I don't know. I think we should just get right into the hot book of the week, Richard. Are you bored with Doom yet?
He is getting oversaturated. West Coast Adventures number 35. And this is a nice cover. I'm not gainsaying that. It's even a nice corner box to go with a nice cover. Robert Downey Jr. posted this to social media, and he included this particular comic on social media. It's a Al Milgrom cover, and it's pretty available.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's just a random issue of West Coast Avengers with that Doom cover that just seems to resonate. And I don't know, when West Coast Avengers was out, people were not big fans of Al Milgrom's art. So it's interesting that they're snatching it up now. Raw's on eBay, selling for up to $35 for high grade copies. I didn't see any of these last week at the convention. Did you?
I saw none. I don't think this is on anybody's radar. I'm not sure why Robert Downey Jr. posted this particular one over all the Doom covers that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
He decides to post this particular one. I don't know if it's a signal or some kind of hint, but more than likely it's what he had available in front of him.
If you guys are going to come at me in the comments if I'm wrong, and please do, but I believe this is Steve Englehart trying to resolve the Kristoff thing, where Kristoff was Doom and Doom wanted to get his kingdom back. I just remember this era of West Coast Avengers, which, by the way, I really did enjoy West Coast Avengers the first 3.5 years, and then Byrne came on and it got interesting in a different way. But why is Moon Knight an Avenger?
Yeah.
I never liked that, never got into that. Mockingbird versus the Phantom Rider. I mean, there's lots of interesting stuff in that first 4 years of West Coast Avengers. Did you guys read it? Did you just come on when Byrne came on? Did you read it back in the day?
I did. I read it from the beginning, and you're right. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I kind of tapered off at some point. I'm not sure why, but in the beginning, I thought it was a cool spinoff from the regular Avengers.
It was good old-fashioned Marvel superheroes. It kind of read like a 70s Marvel title. Remember when they got lost in time and they were going through all the different, eras of Marvel Universe history? They were the Old West.
That was cool.
Yeah, I like that too. But now, of course, this has ruined everyone trying to get a run of West Coast Avengers just to read in the dollar bins. Sorry, you're going to have to skip you 35.
You're going to say 33, 34. 36.
What do you say we switch to a little show and tell, huh? No theme. I just have a bunch of stuff that I've had for a while. I think I showed this on a members only show, but a little first and last, okay? First issue, last issue. First issue of Ralph Snart Adventures.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you have shown this one. I love Ralph Snart.
Do you remember? I remember loving this. I read it again, and I'm like, why did I love this?
Really? It has literally been 40 years since I read Ralph Snart, but I thought I remember liking it.
I remember. I bought every issue. I just don't remember. I'm not remembering why I loved it. Here is, by the way, issue 26, the last issue of Ralph Snart Adventures. And I think it's because I want to say Mark Hansen was the guy's name that created the character and drew most of it. And he left at one point, And I think now comics owned the copyright, so they had other artists do it, and just kind of wasn't the same. I do remember Mr. Lizard, his like sidekick, and he liked beer. At the time, it seemed edgy. Now it seems a little quaint.
Oh, we're all jaded at this point, John.
Well, beyond. What's your first show and tell book?
All right, my theme is pretty simple. This is failed spec books. These are books that I bought with the intent of squirreling them away and waiting for the big moment and then selling them for a profit.
I smell a new segment on the show.
I've got plenty of these. Trust me. The first one was because of Black Adam. Black Adam, Endless Winter. I absolutely love this cover. I saw this cover as the next Thor 337. That kind of that just the presence on this is amazing. So I bought a bunch of raws. I have, I think, 2 or 3, if not 4, slab copies of this, and all anticipation of that. The Black Adam movie and the sequel coming out, and yeah, I didn't go anywhere.
No.
So yeah, this book is probably a $50 book at this point.
What's the date on it?
February 2021.
I was going to say, I remember this is a time when, by the way, if you are Richard's employer, please stop listening right now. This is a time when you and I were working from home. We both had corporate jobs, and Wednesday morning we would like leave at like 9:30 to go line up at 10 o'clock when comic shops would open and buy as many spec books as we could off the shelves.
Yes. And at the price, I mean, this is a $5 book, and I was buying a handful of them, and a lot of times that paid off. Being there early, getting books, FOMO, selling them quickly.
Yeah.
In this case, it just did not work out, and it's too bad. This is actually a decent story. Black Adam is, I'm a big fan of anti-heroes, and I'm really upset that The Rock basically has destroyed that as a movie character in the future.
The Rock is now an anti-hero. I just you hold on to things too long. I would get that stuff and I would dump it like in 2 weeks. The 1 in 50s and things like that. I would not hold on to those things. Not bragging. I'm just saying that
smart.
We had a different philosophy. Speaking of being different and having different philosophies, I have a couple of books I got at Neo Comic Con that I did not show off last week, and I did not show on the members only. Spoof #3 from Marvel, early 1970s satire, kind of like Mad Magazine in comic form. And look, it's David Cassidy being sworn in as president by John Lennon.
I see the Jackson 5 there.
The Jackson 5 and the Osmonds, and you also have the rest of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and Spiro Agnew and Nixon, and Spiro saying, and you had to lower the voting age.
It's kind of like Prez, isn't it?
Yeah, pre-Prez. And then I also found from the same dealer issue 4 with Blecula and Marcus Welby. But yeah, great high grade copies of Spoof. And I think I just need a number 5 and I'm done with this run.
Wow. That humor is very tied to the period, right? I mean, Marcus Welby, how many people today know who Marcus Welby is?
And Blackula, for that sake.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but Blackula, somebody was in their office typing away, probably Stu Schwartzberg, and went, yeah, Blackula. Yep, that'll get it. That'll be a cover. What do you got next?
Okay, my next book is actually, it's a child of a character. This is Lobo's daughter. I thought Lobo by this point would be in the DCU, and we would have him. Supposedly Jason Momoa is going to play him. We'll see. I'll believe it when I see the screens. But Crush is the daughter of Lobo. This is one of those great designer covers. I love. They show different sketches of the character, and I thought she's a really interesting character, and she's kind of that goth, and you can tell by the look of her. She's kind of a hard-edged, darker kind of character. especially for the Teen Titans, this is issue number 20 of the Titans. This is a variant cover. I had high hopes for Lobo, first of all, and then her becoming, a central character in Titan stories and potentially getting onto animated, doing part of the animated shows. But pretty much didn't happen. She's still featured every now and then, but it's just not something not to the level that I wanted it to be.
Heavy sigh. Who is her mother, and can she still walk?
Oh God, I don't know who her mother is, to be honest with you.
Just,
Um,
just curious.
yeah,
I mean,
this is her first full appearance.
if you're rolling around the hay with Lobo, there's going to be some damage.
Yeah.
Venus, number 9.
Ooh.
I got into the boxes today. It is a 2.5 white pager. Hey, it's got white pages. It's got not white pages on the cover, though, some staining. This is the first fantasy sci-fi issue where it really just took a turn. And you've got, I believe, Loki in here, Satan, a whole bunch of gods, and Venus. And this is a book that would definitely benefit from a crack press and resubmit. It's got rusty staples, so I'd have to be careful, but I can really take care of some of that staining. It is wrinkled, that would press out very nicely. And the back cover is actually really decent. It's a lot of the heavy lifting is on the front cover. You see the stains by her there and on the top, and just the wrinkling. So I think I could get it to, I don't know if the rusty staples. I think
I was going to say,
yeah, 3 is probably going to be the max on this, and I just don't think that's
it worth it. Yeah.
time and effort. Maybe during retirement when I'm really bouncing off the walls and I got nothing to do. You know me. There's one thing I never have anything to do, Richard.
No, you are such a sloth.
I have idle hands 24/7. What is your last show and tell book?
My last one is one that you will laugh at me for. It's Champions number 1. Not John's Champions.
That's not the real Champions. How
exactly. Yeah, this is a team with, you see up to Miles Morales, you got Ms. Marvel, you've got
How much Morales?
Miles Morales.
It's been a while, so I had to do
this. You've got Cyclops on there too. There's a whole
Cyclops. I know you guys have explained this to me how many times. I still am bewildered every time.
Yeah, it's I like this team. I thought it was great. Amadeus Cho is back there too. They go off of the reservation from the Avengers and do things the way they think that it should be done.
New Warriors.
Yeah, exactly.
Why didn't they call it New Warriors?
Yeah,
because that was their shtick.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't call it that.
I do remember. Tell me if I'm imagining things. I think I have a copy of that, or I've had a copy of that had a blue C.
Yeah.
That was the second print.
Second print. The blue C is the second print, which is a rare copy. I have some of those too. I bought a number of these and I put them away because I thought, well, eventually, this was one. This came out 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I put them away. I figured eventually we're going to see champions. It's such an easy thing to do. You've got a team of heroes that are that you're going to want to feature individually at some point if you're in the MCU or an animated universe. Why not just use a team that's pre-built and has pre-built stories behind them? But nope, this whole thing just never gelled. Ms. Marvel is in the tank at this point. They've never done anything with Nova, which I just don't understand. It's such a
Rich Rider again. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Abnett and Lanning, for doing that. Appreciate it.
But
yeah, I just have to wonder if all that effort to build those characters up and then they just shunt them over to the side after a while. I guess, if something doesn't sell it, because there were several attempts at the Champion series. Wasn't one of them like a 1 in 50 cover where they're like by the locker in high school? Yeah, that was like something for a crazy amount of money at one point.
Yeah. There have been a number of pretty good covers too. There's this beautiful Alex Ross cover where they're burning their Avengers cards.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah. Wow. A nice show and tell there. And a reminder to you guys that Richard and I are recording this very, very late at night. Right now, it is midnight his time on the East Coast. That shows you how devoted we are to this show. You can show us how devoted you are to us by supporting us by becoming a member here on YouTube for the cost of a measly $2.99 a month. Less than a Starbucks. You can help Richard feel good about staying up late. You also get something out of it. Exclusive live member-only streams on Thursdays. Extra show and tell episode there that goes out to 90 minutes. You can join us on that show and tell episode and show your books off. We've had great new guests the last few weeks. You also get to see your name zip by right here. I am going to redesign this slide. I swear to God, sometime before 2026. I promise, hand to God. And it also helps Richard and I go to more shows, give you more coverage, buy new Rode microphones after I sit on them and crush them with my ass. I promise to tell that story sometime too, haven't I?
Yes, you have. I'm dying to hear it myself.
If you sat through this entire spiel and you're still listening, I want you to go in the comments and type, "Yes, I did, John," just to tell me. And if you want to join, just hit join next to the subscribe button here on YouTube. Or if you're on a podcast platform, just click the link in the description as we pivot to viewer mail.
You've got mail.
Richard, I'm going to start with a mail that we got from our BronzeAndModernGods@gmail.com account from our friend in, I believe, the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, Rim Ederveen. John, you ignorant slut. Hole punches are not centered on figure cards because of the position of the action figure. Talking about why I questioned the art on one of your action figure cards covers. If the figure is on one side of the card to allow for a bigger visual, then the weight will be off-center as well, which will have to be corrected by an off-center hole punch. Having a centered hole punch on an off-center figure card would result in tinted cards on the rack. Just be sure I love you guys in the show. I'm just glad I finally found a nit to pick. Give me a reason to try to make an appearance in the viewer mail segment. Thanks. Love from Amsterdam. Oh, I was right. Rim Ederveen. Rim, yeah, I learned something.
Yeah. Very good point. Otherwise, everyone would be skewed to the side because of the weight. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I need to punch a hole in a card with a figure, I know what to do. Richard, what is your? Yeah, I am. What's your first piece of viewer mail? Sorry, I'm racing through here. I'm like barreling over you. Go ahead.
My first piece is from Oliver Ortiz, and he says, "I love the Fantastic Four movie. I went in with low expectation, but left feeling good about everything I saw. They made it work after so many years of disappointment. Good to see you both together. Yeah, we had a good time together. Love Comic Scene magazine, and great Doctor Doom covers. Yep. I went into the movie the kind of the same way. I had low expectation. It's been beaten into me for the past couple of years not to get your hopes up too high, Marvels, about a new Marvel movie, new MCU movie. So all the trailers I saw, though, are kind of encouraging. So, but I still went in with low expectations. And I was very, very pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed the movie. It was a good summer movie. And I'm looking forward to seeing where they take the first family next. John, do you have any more of those comic scenes, by the way?
No, just those two that I bought. And I don't know if I want more. You know what I mean? Magazines end up in a magazine box, like at the very bottom of my big stack. So then if I ever want to look at them, I got to pull everything out. It's a storage issue for me.
Same here. My magazines and my oversized comics all end up in the same magazine size box that's separate from everything else because it's too big to fit on the shelf without making it look uneven.
Yeah.
So even things like the Starlog that I bought, that I showed off, it's tough to want to collect more because I've got to then find more room for those oversized kinds of things. So yeah, magazines are tough.
Oliver, I liked it. I talked about it last week. The more I think about it, the more angrier. The angrier I get, that the Thing did not have a knockdown, drag out, clobber in time showcase. That's a big mess.
Yeah, the fact that he was reluctant to say clobber in time to begin with was kind of annoying.
It's bashful, blue-eyed Benji Grimm. Come on, give us. Hey, it's Edgar Mahime. Hi, Edgar. He wrote us an email as well. Hi, John and Richard. First off, longtime fan of the show and the great content that both of you grace us with week after week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Edgar. We got to meet Edgar in Baltimore. No, I've met him at Elite_Comics convention. I think he was all Edgar. I remember your shirt. You had really cool band shirts. Two things. Number one, I don't feel your lack of Joe Kubert appreciation is truly warranted. Case in point, since John used a Kubert Tarzan cover, I'll do the same. Tarzan number 223 is a beautiful Tarzan saving the damsel in the red dress cover, which I think at least rivals Jose Luis Garcia Lopez in eye appeal. Tell me I'm wrong. You are wrong, Edgar.
I love the composition.
No. That is a great cover. It is. The composition, I like where the diagonal slashes that draw the eye. Kubert's a master. Don't get me wrong. I do believe Kubert's a master. I don't know. Just there's something I don't like. And I will point out Tarzan's left foot.
I knew you were going to call out these missing toes.
Looks like claws there. All right, moving on. And as a second example, our Army at War number 100, which showcases that what I'll refer to as grittiness, which captures all the emotion and angst of soldiers at war. I will give you that one. I love the war books. I love the DC Big Five war books. I love Kubert on the war books. He was the editor of the war books for a long time, did a lot of the covers. No argument there. He was born to do this. Superheroes, not so much.
I totally agree with you. His war covers are just sometimes haunting. I mean, it's amazing the work that he did for the war books.
And just to clarify, Edgar and everyone else, I don't dislike Joe Kubert's art the way I dislike some artists. I'm not going to say Don Heck. I'll say Vinnie Coletta. It's just there's something scratchy and rushed about it for me. That's just my personal taste. Richard, what do you got next?
My next piece of viewer mail is from a YouTube subscriber, Jared Smith. And Jared says, I finally got TMNT number 1 CGC 8.0 third print, which is my Grail book. Congratulations. I love when people share Grail books that they finally get. This is a great one, too. The turtles are such a key part of the culture of the 90s and the early or mid 80s. And if you grew up in that period of time, you had a thing for turtles. So I'm glad you got a number 1. Third prints are great. They're more reasonable in terms of cost. And you can always, at some point, if you want a second print, or you can afford one of the 2000 first prints are out there, it's easy to move your third print and use the proceeds to fund upgrading. So it's a great place to jump in on the book. You don't tell us if you bought it slabbed. I'm assuming you bought it slabbed. If you did not, and you got it raw, did you actually read it? Did you take a look at it and look at the crappy quality of the paper? And it's not up to standards that you would publish a comic today. But that's part of the charm of it. I mean, it was definitely an indie book, and it had a completely different look and feel from Marvel or DC, and that really drew people into it more than just the silly animals angle to it. So, but anyway, congratulations on your Grail book, and I hope you have luck finding any other Grail books that you're looking for.
They're fun to press, those Mirage books. There's nothing I love better. Richard, do you remember how many third print? Are there 5,000 third prints? Is that right? Or is it 7?
No, the third print is 32,000, I think it is.
Oh, really? Went that high? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
First print is 2,000. Second print, I can't remember the number for the second print.
We're probably getting
the first was 2.
Everybody, it's late. We're not doing research. Hey. My next piece of viewer mail is also from our email at BronzeAndModernGods from gmail.com from Trip from Charleston. Someone on my side about Twin Peaks season 2. So if you digress 1 second, please indulge me. John and Richard, good day. I was finishing college when Twin Peaks aired, and I have to weigh in on that. Season 2 was a fascinating story with peculiar elements. Thank you, Trip. However, I thought season 3, as creative as Lynch was, with his unique feel for the bizarre and the unknown, was a narrative disaster for the viewer, especially as a series' 3rd season. I'll stick with the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks, as well as Mulholland Drive, The Straight Story, and others in the Lynch catalog. Thanks, Trip from Charleston, South Carolina. Trip, my first viewing of season 3, I had felt the same way as you. I was angry. I loved it. It was compelling. I couldn't turn away, but I was angry. What happened to Audrey in the bank when the bank exploded? What happened to Josie in the dresser drawer knob? Where is Bob? Why is no one going looking for Cooper when he left and disappeared? I had all these questions from the cliffhanger of season 2. And then I realized about 4 episodes in, David Lynch had zero interest in continuing that. And he was actually making a statement about America. If you remember, in the 90s, when Twin Peaks aired originally, Twin Peaks was a nice, idyllic little town that had some violence happen to it, but it was still at its core filled with people that were good people and had good hearts. See, Twin Peaks in 2022, or I think when it aired, or 2023, when was it? Was not that place. It was completely corrupted. There were drug dealers. There were drug dealers in the original series, but there were no good people. You had Richard Horne running over a child. It was basically like, look at what's happened to small town America. That was season 3. It was, if you want to have narrative closure, did Leo Johnson survive the tarantulas hanging over his head? Which, by the way, tarantulas aren't poisonous. So, there was a book by Mark Frost, David Lynch's collaborator, that co-wrote all this, that answers all those questions. Buy the book. That's what I did. I felt much better afterwards.
Well, that's good. Somebody actually put the effort into actually answering those untold stories.
Yeah, I think Mark Frost said, okay, I know David's not going to go anywhere near this. He has no interest in resolving stuff that he didn't create because he was gone for a lot of season 2. So Mark Frost took it upon himself to answer those questions. So check those out, Trip, if you want to read those books. All right, Richard, what is your last piece of viewer mail?
My last piece of viewer mail is from Mike's Organic Videos. And Mike says, there are a lot of great Jack Kirby Fantastic Four covers, but I've always loved numbers 49 and 50, second and third appearance of the Silver Surfer, which also feature Galactus. I'm going on memory, but I think those were pretty spectacular. No, I totally agree with you. 49 is one of my favorite covers. 48, it's first appearance of Galactus. It's a goofy cover. I'm sorry, Jack. It's a goofy cover.
You don't like the Watcher and the Fantastic Four staring in the distance, like, what is that? What's that giant cloud in the sky? Oh, wait.
Wrong universe. No, but 49. That cover and the graphics. Here's a screenshot of that cover. It's just very striking. You know, the way that Jack uses the color, and Galactus, up above, hovering over, is just really amazing. The issue 50 is really just features the Surfer, and I think it's a great cover, but I don't think it's as dynamic as 49. And,
Fantastic Four 50 cracks me up. If I can talk about that for a second. Did you remember reading Fantastic Four 50?
No, I don't.
The first half of the book, it's almost like because Jack's plotting it at this point. Let's be real.
Mm.
He's like, okay, we're done with the Galactus story. Silver Surfer's going to be trapped on Earth. And then Galactus goes away. The end. And that's just halfway through the book. The rest of the book is like Johnny Storm goes off to college and meets Wyatt Wingfoot. and Alicia Masters is hanging out with the Silver Surfer talking. It's so interesting that this what's really known as the Galactus trilogy is really the Galactus 2.5. 2.5 issues. And like it's so funny. I don't know, guys. Tell me if I'm wrong. Issue 50, it's like, I'm done with this. I'm bored.
Jack did do that though.
Yeah. Black Racer in New Gods number 3, and then like, okay, I'm done with that. Let's move on. Speaking of moving on, what do you say we go back 25 years to the year 2000? You guessed it. It's the 25-year rule. Richard. We have a friend that hates this character.
Yes. And that's why I love the fact that you brought it up so that he can listen to us talk about it again.
We're talking about the Sentry and Sentry number 1 for Marvel Knights in the year 2000. The Sentry introduced Robert Reynolds, an unassuming middle-aged man who suddenly remembers he's the world's greatest forgotten superhero, but that the world has forgotten him too. It's
great premise. Big premise.
Paul Jenkins and Jae Lee, man, they did that Inhumans miniseries for Marvel Knights, and this was their follow-up. It stood out with kind of this moody presentation. There was a hook, though. This is the Quesada and Bill Jemas era, so you can't just have a book stand and live on its own merits. No, you got to have some hook. They pitched it as if the Sentry was a real long-lost Stan Lee creation from the 60s whose adventures were erased from history. His nemesis, the Void, is a terrifying dark mirror to the Sentry's power. In this issue, you get glimpses of some Marvel characters like Spider-Man, the FF, and the Hulk, and they reveal they kind of remember him, but he's been erased. And then the marketing campaign was all about fake historical articles and fake art, trying to trick fans into thinking he somehow missed an actual golden Silver Age hero. Like, yeah, you're gonna fool nerds like us that have everything that's ever been published and committed to memory. And just right out of the gate, he's Superman level.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. But he's mentally unstable. That's the hook to me. What began as a one-shot launch really turned him into a recurring and, to be fair, a divisive figure for Marvel. He's been in New Avengers, Siege, Beyond, Thunderbolts. I don't think we mentioned the friend that hates him. Evan, our DC-loving friend, hates the Sentry.
I get it. I mean, it's, when you have these Omega level or even higher than Omega level characters, what do you do? I mean, it's difficult to tell a story when someone could just win by sheer force of might.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can understand why you would find that kind of character uninteresting.
Superman and Hyperion versus the Sentry. They're all 3 Superman. Never mind. Underrated books of the week. Richard, you have the second Turtles reference of the night.
Yes, I do. My pick this week is Bodycount number 1 from Image Comics back in 1996. Take a look at this cover. This is a pretty striking cover for a Turtles book. It's Simon
Bisley, right?
Bisley, right? Simon Bisley did the cover, and he also did the interior art. Although Kevin Eastman did the story and the layouts for this. This was released in 1996. Although the original version of this, which was called Casey Jones and Raphael, was released in '94 under the Mirage label. Mirage, unfortunately, was going out of business, and Image picked up the title, reprinted issue number 1, and then printed the other 3 books in the series. This is a 4-book limited series.
How can Mirage go out of business?
That's a very, very good question. I don't think the Turtles have slowed down since they were originally out. How
can Mirage go out of business? Tell us, please. Go on.
This book, the art, I'm not a big fan of the art. I'll have to.
Bisley.
It's you were talking about how Kubrick's art was scratchy.
Mhm.
This is blobby. Everything is very blobby.
Veiny,
Yeah, very veiny.
engorged, and veiny.
I wouldn't use those particular words, but yes, but this book is very, very violent. I mean, to the point where I'm reading it, I'm saying, "Wow, this is really more of an adult book than it is something that I would let my early teen read."
I have
That's
to
typically
wonder
the titles. Pardon?
if that's why there's no mention of the turtles on the cover.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's a turtle on the cover, but it's not like Body Count, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles adventure.
Right, right. I think the title also gives it away, the fact that there's a lot of violence in this book. Um, but it's the story is okay. I picked this book mainly because it was such a divergent title from what you typically see from the turtles, especially the mainstream turtles where they're always eating pizza and this, it's again built for a different audience. This book is definitely for a more mature audience, and it reads as such. So if you're looking for some story around some uh, characters like Casey Jones, who is a major character, major ally for the Turtles, if you want to read something about him and maybe some of his travels, this is a good book to read. It's about 25 bucks. I was surprised how much I see sets of all four going on for around $100 average on
Wow.
eBay. So the people out there are valuing this book, and I don't know if it's because of what I'm talking about, that level of adult violence that goes on in the book, or if there's something else that I'm missing for this. If anybody's watching can think of another reason why this book is more than a dollar bin book, please leave a comment. I'd be happy to read your comments on this.
I'm gonna guess comparatively lower print run, because if you remember those last few issues of the Turtles from Mirage go for a big premium because the print runs were so low. And
Mhm.
the fact that this was basically what you're saying, a reprint book.
The
Uh,
first book was, yes.
yeah, that I'm sure orders in 1996 for a Turtles book that did not say Turtles on the cover, that was previously printed before, would not be, you know what? Let me go to the magic of editing. My magic book will tell us the print run. It will appear in my hands.
5 minutes later.
Boom, here it is. Problem is, it doesn't list the print run for that, which is a bummer. But I can't imagine it had a very high print run.
I can't either.
My underrated book of the week had a big print run, I think, because it was a comeback of sorts for a character that I have a little bit of an affinity for. It is Captain America, number 247. This marks the start of Roger Stern and John Byrne's run on Captain America. It would come on to be a legendary run, but it only lasted a handful of issues, but brought Cap back to his core values: leadership, moral clarity, determination, after some just real directionless periods post Kirby. Byrne's clean, powerful line work, along with Joe Rubenstein, Richard, my favorite inker, gives a larger than life presence. You're supposed to laugh at that because we had our little experience with Mr. Rubenstein. While laying the groundwork for later arcs, this issue works as a satisfying one and done. It's accessible to new readers, yet it has a lot for longtime fans to dig into. I won't spoil it for you, but Cap finds his old World War II footlocker and there's stuff inside, and I won't spoil it. That's why he's got his old shield on the cover, if you see that. They began strengthening Cap's world. They renewed the focus on his civilian life, which I thought was going to happen with Straczynski's run.
It started. It
Started
started.
that way. Also his Avengers connection. He fought villains like Machine Smith and just great stuff. The Stern Byrne run is unfortunately short-lived. It's been overshadowed by longer tenures before and after, most notably in Mark Grunwald's big, long 100-plus issue run. But issue 247 shows just how well they understood the character from page one. They also took the opportunity in this issue to get rid of Steve Gerber's origin retcon where Steve Gerber had Cap join the army after World War II, or not after World War II, after Pearl Harbor.
Okay.
And he had a brother that we never knew of that died in Pearl Harbor.
Wow.
None of that happened. Steve Gerber made that up to try to change the origin, and Stern and Byrne took a big eraser to it and said, no, we're going back to the way it was. Thank goodness. I love Steve Gerber. I love Captain America. Steve Gerber on Captain America is like chocolate sauce on spaghetti.
How did you feel about Byrne's art for Cap?
Loved it. This was one of my favorite runs of Captain America ever. And guest of the show, God rest his soul, Jim Shooter, ruined it. They had a multi-issue Red Skull arc planned, and Shooter in one of his edicts said there will be no long-term continuing storylines going forward. And that was one of the reasons they left the book. Raws of Cap 247 sell on eBay for a whopping $5 to $6. If you've never read the Stern Byrne run of Captain America, it's bittersweet because it's awesome and then it ends real quick with issue 255, and you are left angry, wanting more. Have you read this run?
No, I haven't. I was actually unaware that Byrne had done any art for Cap.
It was right when he, I think he was doing 3 books at once. I think he was doing Cap, Fantastic Four, and X-Men at the same time. Does that sound right?
He did do. I do remember his Fantastic Four and X-Men run. I didn't realize they were simultaneous, though.
He was doing 3 books at one point. I know that. He was happy to be a cog in Marvel's corporate machine, quote unquote.
Yeah, he's making his money.
If you read the old Comics Journal, you're laughing along with me right now. Yeah, he was defending Marvel's stance towards artists and creator rights. I'm sure he feels differently now. Did you see that they're going to publish his X-Men series that takes place after issue 137 going forward?
No.
Yeah, he's been doing it for his own edification, and they're finally going to publish it for him.
Oh, wow. That's going to be amazing.
I know. We'll have to see how it comes out. Hey, we'll have to see you next week right here on the show next Monday. Until then, you guys have a great week, and I'm going to travel, and Rich is going to get some sleep.
Everybody, stay safe.